King Alfred Redevelopment Review Presentation. Slide 1 Introduction. This presentation is based on a talk previously given by Chris Roche, reviewing the proposals for the King Alfred redevelopment. It draws on the material presented at that time alongside subsequent analysis and focuses on the key issues that were identified. Slide 2 King Alfred Development Analysis. Introduction. Thanks for coming. The original talk began by thanking attendees and recognising the effort involved in bringing forward the scheme. However, it also noted that meaningful engagement came relatively late, after significant expenditure and design development had already taken place. Slide 3, why? A central question raised was, why this scheme in this form? At the point of review, over £2 million had already been spent, yet there had been limited opportunity for the public to fully understand or interrogate the proposals. There was no comprehensive exhibition, no physical model, and limited accessible material. This raised concerns about transparency and the basis on which decisions were being made. Slide 4, how much? The financial scale of the project is substantial. Costs had already increased significantly prior to planning, raising questions about affordability and long-term value. This is not simply a design issue, it is a fundamental question of public investment. Slide 5, quality. Given the scale of investment, the expected standard of design and delivery should be high. However, the scheme raises concerns about whether the quality matches the cost. This becomes a recurring theme throughout the analysis. Slide 6, King Alfred Site Analysis, Land Values. The site is one of the most valuable in the area, particularly along the seafront. The way land value is used within the scheme is therefore critical. There is a strong argument that the current arrangement prioritises private return over maximising public benefit. Slide 7, Orientation. The building lacks a clear orientation. It does not strongly address either the seafront or Kingsway, and its relationship to the wider context appears unresolved. For a civic building, this weakens its identity and presence. Slide 8, Access. Access is a fundamental concern. There is limited clarity around drop-off, disabled access, and general circulation. For a public leisure facility, these are essential requirements, and unresolved issues here directly affect usability. Slide 9, Quality. At a more detailed level, questions of quality become more apparent. There are inconsistencies in how different elements of the scheme are resolved, suggesting coordination issues. This reinforces the concern that overall quality does not match the level of investment. Slide 10, Cost. The cost of the project increased from approximately £47 million to £65 million before planning approval. On a square metre basis, this is significantly above typical benchmarks. There is also a clear risk that costs will continue to rise. Slide 11, Existing Building Analysis. The existing building has structural integrity and represents a significant embodied carbon investment. It also has long-standing community value. These factors suggest that demolition should not be assumed as the default option. Slide 12, Existing Building Analysis. Further analysis indicates that refurbishment is a viable alternative. At a fraction of the cost, it could deliver many of the required improvements while retaining existing value. This option does not appear to have been fully explored. Slide 13, Roof Level Plan, Plant and Air Conditioning. The roof level is dominated by plant and air handling equipment. This represents a missed opportunity. Given the seafront location, there is potential for public or shared amenity space that has not been realised. Slide 14, Level 1 Plan, Fitness Suite and Studios. At level 1, the arrangement of fitness and studio spaces introduces conflicts with adjacent residential uses. Overlooking and privacy issues are evident, which could lead to operational and planning complications. Slide 15, ground level plan, entrance and changing. The ground level is critical to the user experience. However, the entrance lacks visibility and clarity. Changing arrangements and circulation appear constrained, which may affect usability. Slide 16, road level, vehicle access and emergency services. Vehicle access is limited and raises practical concerns. There is little clarity around drop-off, servicing, or emergency access. These are essential operational considerations that appear underdeveloped. Slide 17, landscape level plan, shared space. The proposed public space is shared with private residential development. This creates potential for conflict between public use and private expectations. The quality and usability of this space are therefore uncertain. Slide 18, master plan, Resi 17 story. The height and scale of the residential element raise significant concerns. A 17-story development represents a major intervention in this context and requires careful justification. Slide 19, master plan, residential. The residential scheme is central to the viability of the project. However, it has not been fully resolved in terms of access, servicing, and integration with the leisure centre. This limits the ability to assess the scheme as a whole. Slide 20, facades, north elevation / Kingsway. The north elevation presents a relatively weak frontage. It does not strongly engage with Kingsway or contribute positively to the streetscape. Slide 21, facades, south elevation / C. The seafront elevation does not fully capitalise on its prominent location. There is an opportunity here for a more distinctive and engaging public building. Slide 22, facades, east elevation / entrance. The entrance elevation lacks clarity and presence. For a civic building, this is a critical shortcoming. Slide 23, facades, west elevation / car park. The west elevation is dominated by servicing and parking functions. This limits its contribution to the overall quality of the scheme. Slide 24, interior design, cafe / public meeting space. The cafe and meeting spaces are not fully integrated as genuinely public amenities. Access and visibility are limited, reducing their effectiveness. Slide 25, size, it does matter. The scale of the building is significant. However, size alone does not equate to quality or functionality. There are questions about whether the space provided is used effectively. Slide 26, interior space planning, facilities and functionality. Internal planning presents a number of challenges. Circulation, changing facilities, and overall usability appear constrained. These issues directly affect the long-term success of the building. Slide 27, closing slide. In conclusion, the original talk identified a consistent set of concerns: high and increasing cost, questions about design quality, unresolved access and planning issues, and a development strategy that may prioritise financial return over public value. At the same time, alternative approaches, particularly refurbishment, appear to offer lower cost and reduced risk. Closing statement. This presentation, based on Chris Roche's original talk, highlights the importance of transparency, proper evaluation of alternatives, and careful consideration of long-term consequences. For a project of this scale, these are essential to achieving an outcome that delivers genuine public benefit.